Dr. Nayan Patel, welcome to the podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. We're going to have a great conversation today, everything that we can fit in about thyroid and progesterone. But first, you're in California and you're kind of a big deal. Like you're working with some celebrities and some pretty big names, if I'm correct.
Yes, well, thanks for having me today and appreciate the time. And I had the pleasure of helping a lot of patients and a lot of customers over my lifespan. And it's I think the people flock to each other if they get meaningful information and if we can help them. Otherwise, there's too many people on this planet that they can go to somebody else.
Yeah. There's too many people on the planet that actually need help and they actually need real information. And I'm sure we're quite agreeable on a lot of things regarding Big Pharma and the information they're putting out. So your message is refreshing. It's more what I would consider aligned with the truth. So hopefully people find this conversation valuable. We're going to get into, like I mentioned, thyroid and progesterone. But first, can you kind of give my followers a little bit of insight into your background? You're a compounding pharmacist, which is fantastic. I find that compounding pharmacists seem to be a lot more open to holistic approaches than our general practitioners would be.
Absolutely. So I can go back even further back than like being a compounding pharmacist. I started as a career with a physics and math major. My plan was to do engineering, aeronautics, hopefully go into the space and do something different that is outside the world, literally outside the world, right? That was
Yeah.
my whole original plan. But you know what? It's like one thing led to another. Once I went to college, I got a real big interest in chemistry, and my professor said that I was really good at chemistry. I said I never knew that I was good at chemistry, but one thing led to another. I said, well, I can do chemical engineering,
Mhm.
and my cousin told me that no, why don't you do pharmacy? So you're taking the same knowledge base and going straight to the people and helping people with the medication needs. And I said, okay, that sounds interesting. And so that's what how my whole process started with as a pharmacist. And I went to pharmacy school, graduated from pharmacy school, and very soon I realized that all the medications we had at that time available were not actually going to solve any problems. All the medication that we had were only going to manage people's problem and not actually solve any problems. And when I heard that for the first time, I said, wait a second, we have 3,000 plus medication, but all we're going to do is manage problems for the rest of your life. Yeah, it's called chronic disease management. That's what we do. We do medication management. We don't do cures. I said, okay, that doesn't. So anyway, so I quickly started. I said, well, I have to do something different with my life. So right away, I didn't even waste even a month. Right away, started getting to some more classes, started going back to education routes, conferences, and started learning everything about compounding and see what I can do with if I can gain control of what I can do with my own hands, then I can help people. And that was my whole aha moment back in 1996 that okay, I'm going to start doing compounding as an avenue to start to understand patients' needs are going to be and see if I can manage problems better than what the pharmaceuticals were doing and at the same time give them a hope that hey, if you work with me, I will try to figure out how to get off the medications, how to have your body heal within itself by providing nutrients and other modalities without medication. So that was my whole journey. So today, fast forward 2025, we are here today because I have been there, done that, so to speak, with compoundings. I've introduced some new molecules like glutathione that will hopefully we get a chance to discuss today. But then I have looked at the nutrition and other modalities and see how they all interact with pharmaceuticals or nutraceuticals and give the body the chance to survive. Because one thing that we do know is everything that our body needs is inside our body already. Everything it needs. Only thing that we need to do is provide the fuel to energize the body. So when we eat food, only thing is providing is the nutrients, the building blocks, the energy for the body to survive. And that's it. We don't need any medications.
Yeah, the whole chronic disease management, it's a good business idea. It's quite profitable, but it doesn't mean that it's in our best interests either. So, um, before we kind of go into the thyroid and progesterone,
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering, can you explain to the listeners, because I know a lot of people don't fully understand this. What is the difference between a compounding pharmacist and our regular pharmacist that we would just go to with our prescriptions?
So the thing is, I have various definitions for compounding pharmacists, but in literally what it means is the compounding pharmacists are actually making the medications for you and understands the medications better than anything else out there that's available versus the pharmacists that are actually not doing compounding are understanding the diseases on how the medications work for the diseases on the commercial side and helping patients manage the disease better versus a company pharmacist like myself. I consider myself as I'm going above and beyond a disease management to see is there, can I make something to get rid of the problems? And if I can, yes, it's not lifelong prescriptions that you're going to buy from me, but the patients are going to feel better and they will need medications for the rest of their life. And hopefully by doing so, they'll refer their friends and family to come to us to solve their problems because there's no shortage of people. Only thing we have shortage is managing effectively without uh, giving them a product for the rest of their lives.
So can compounding pharmacists, can you prescribe, but also are you limited to your state or province in under our circumstances? Like, does your license limit you? You can only practice in your state?
So we don't prescribe per se. There are some laws in California that have enacted where pharmacists can get a degree in advanced pharmacist, where we are able to prescribe within the scope of practice certain medications. But my focus is I can only do so many of those, right? I can only see 8, 10, 15, 20 patients a day. Uh, but the way I have done my business is I actually train doctors.
Mhm.
I help the doctors because each and every doctor that I help, they can see 10, 20 patients per day. So I have taken my business instead of doing it myself, is I have gone outside and started training the doctors. I said, hey, now, if you need help, I'll be more than happy to help you. No strings attached. I'll be helping you. And then you go see the patients, you help the patients. And if they need the medications, we'll be more than happy to provide you with the medications. But more than that, I want you to take this information and go out in the community and help the community out. So, yes, even though we can prescribe, I have taken a second approach where I train the doctors where they see more and more patients.
So you're helping the doctors who then can help the patients. And if they do need a prescription, then they're coming to you as well to make sure
Exactly.
that it's done correct.
Exactly. And the licenses that we have issued has been state specific. So I personally, I'm licensed in about 8 different states. So
Mhm.
I can see patients in 8 different states if I really wanted to.
Mhm.
But the laws are still not in every state yet.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for explaining that because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know. We hear of our pharmacists, we hear of prescribing pharmacists, we hear of compounding, but people generally don't know the difference between them.
No. And
Sometimes it's just the basics. People just need enough to know the basics.
well, that if you try to make it overly complicated, you're going to lose the patients anyways. And so my focus has always been, can I make it simple enough for people to understand? Say, oh, you know what? I can do that. That's it. If you can do that part, it doesn't matter how complicated the situation is. If the patient's not going to do anything about it, then you just lost the patient anyways.
Mhm.
So I like to make it extremely simple, and we're going to discuss a few things about thyroid and progesterone, and you're going to see that. Is I like to make it extremely simple where people understand the whole concept. And reality is that No matter what, how much you know about your human body, the best doctors in the world cannot fix it,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? Because it has to allow the body to do its own work. It can give a helping hand to the body to deal with it, but in reality is that the body is going to do the work by itself anyways, right? From the day you're born to the day you die, your body is constantly rejuvenating, regenerating, reproducing new cells, re-enhancing the all every tissues and organs and every single thing, right? Regardless if you take medications or not, it's going to do all this work for you. The question is that are we providing the body the right tools to do that work for us? Or are we taking the body, telling the body, say, no, stop it. I'll take care of it from here. I will give you some drugs to do the work for you. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are not working with their body, they're working against their body. So the body doesn't even get the chance to do its own thing because there's too many conditions stacked against it,
That's
which
right.
then brings us to our thyroid. The thyroid, I've had lots of conversations about the thyroid. As you, I'm sure, have recognized, thyroid dysfunction is prevalent and growing, and I'm sure we could converse about why all the different environmental factors and lifestyle stressors and just all the bits and pieces that are affecting our thyroid right now. So, a lot of things working against our thyroid.
Okay.
So, let's get into how can we work with our thyroid. First, can you help people understand like what is the thyroid? How can we work with it? And some of the things that are working against our thyroid that maybe we know but we don't know, if that makes sense.
Okay. So I'll take a stab at that one and see if try to make it a simpler form. Thyroid gland above it's right by your neck. It's a very small gland, and it regulates the body's temperature. It provides the energy source the body needs to make sure the body maintains the certain temperature of the body to do all the bodily functions. Uh, the thyroid gland absorbs a lot of different things from environment, mainly if there is any radioactive materials, cosmic materials, cosmic rays, those all can damage thyroid. So if you think about it, if you are, let's say, for example, if you're traveling a lot by airplane, you're flying in this aluminum chute 35,000 feet above sea levels, and your body is completely exposed to the cosmic rays, right?
Along with
When you
everything else.
with everything else, and those cosmic rays are actually gets absorbed into your body. Those gets absorbed to your thyroid gland, unfortunately, right? And so the thyroid disease is where we have overexposure to chemicals, radioactive materials, cosmic rays, is so prevalent today that 80% of the total population of the developed countries have thyroid, some sort of thyroid irregularities.
Mhm.
Not full-blown thyroid disease, but thyroid irregularities, where it becomes overactive. And once it becomes overactive, there's some medications to make it slow it down. But in reality, the best medication is what? They give you radioactive material to burn your thyroid gland off completely. And once it burns it off, then your thyroid becomes less active. Now you have low thyroid, and then you're on thyroid medication for the rest of your life. That's a treatment plan,
Yeah.
unfortunately, right? And so, uh, to me, is what can I do? What can I do today to give a fighting chance for my body to detoxify all these chemicals, radioactive materials that your body gets exposed to before it gets to thyroid? So liver gets a first chance. If the liver can detoxify all those things, will be amazing. And for that, we need something called glutathione to remove all those toxic materials out of the liver. Once it gets released, then the thyroid becomes more active and it doesn't get damaged so fast. But before you go to thyroid, let me go tell you two more things. So if you look at the whole endocrine system, it's in a pyramid. The thyroid is somewhere in the middle. The bottom of the pyramid, which is 40% of the total problems in the body, comes from stress management or cortisol.
Mhm.
That's the bulk of the problems right there. And most people are going to tell you that there's nothing I can do about my stress. It is what it is, right? That's what they tell you. There's nothing much I can do. So what's the next step? Well, the next step about that one, which is 30% of the total problem, is insulin or your diet. Oh, I have a very good diet. I have not looked at a good diet, a very good diet in a while that tells me, oh, that's a good diet.
Yeah.
No, you can rip it apart. Every single diet that's out there that is not conducive for our body, because a body does not need good diet. A body needs good building blocks. Whatever building blocks I need, am I going to get from the diet? If I'm not going to get from the diet, then it's not a good thing. If you're eating chips and sodas and breads have nothing in there, guess what? That's empty calories that are, that is that is taking away from the body's actual job, and now they have to do this garbage work, right? Oh, I got to work taking this garbage out of the system where I could be doing something better in life.
Mhm.
So the body is doing work for us where it doesn't need to work that hard. And it's not that it's doing that work to get rid of it, but what it's doing is it's not allowing the body to do the real work to heal, to rejuvenate, to regenerate your body, to make it healthy and normal again. And that's what it's doing. So 70% of the total solution you have for the whole for the whole hormone problems is nutrition and stress management.
Mhm.
No pills, just education. Now, have you heard about the 80-20 rule, right?
Oh yeah.
Pareto principles. 80% of the problem have 20% of the solution. A small change can have a massive impact in your life, right? So this is the 70%, right? The 70% of the problem is nutrition and cortisol with stress management. If you can just work on those two things, then you don't have to worry about the hormone issues. You don't have to worry about thyroids and progesterones or estrogens or whatever, right? But let's say you don't do any of those things. The next 20% of the problem is thyroid. It's not a major issue, but it is a major issue if you are suffering from it, right? You don't have a 20% problem. You have a 100% problem if you have thyroid issues,
Mhm.
right?
It's
So,
big enough to make a difference. Let's put it like
uh,
that.
absolutely. And the tip of the pyramid is sex hormones, which is estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, pregnenolone, DHA, all those things are sex hormones. That's a 10% of the total solution for the whole endocrine system problems,
Yeah.
right? But people don't come to me with measure of stress and nutrition. They come to me and say, hey, I'm having all the symptoms. Can you give me some medications for my hormones and my thyroid,
I
right?
wonder, is that just part of being human, wanting the easy, quick solution and way out instead? Because the stress management, I think we both agree, to an extent, there's part of cortisol and adrenaline that is out of your control. But to another extent, there is a lot you can do, but a lot of people are not doing it. And the same with the nutrition. There's a lot we can do, but a lot of people are not doing it. So as we work up the pyramid, okay, if you're not going to do these two bottom layers, the next best thing is the magic pill, which more and more people seem to be attracted to.
Um, Unfortunately, that is a hardcore reality. I work with a lot of movie actors and CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and the stress level is so high for them. We think that the actors are just, I mean, they have a life of a
Glamour.
movie and glamour, right? It's all fun and an all amazing lifetime, but no, their stress level is extremely, extremely high because 90% of the time they are jobless. They don't work every single day, but when they do work, they work like crazy because there's a movie shoots happening. Again, it's a whole different lifestyle. I don't wish upon that lifestyle for anybody. Unfortunately, it's not fun. And so what has happened is all these people is initially when they're young, the cortisol management, which is adrenal glands, is managing all the stresses better. And as they start getting older, the adrenal glands are not doing that work for them. The cortisol management is not happening. So now what has happened is that they still have a lot of stress, but the cortisol is not able to handle the stress levels. So they are becoming so they are producing a lot of adrenaline now. And what we call them adrenaline junkies is because they really are adrenaline junkies now. right? They do whatever it takes to hype up the body. They have all this adrenaline flowing into the whole body. They do the work. They feel amazing, glamorous, and then they crash,
Mm.
right? And and the same thing about a CEO of a company, they have, I don't know, 5,000, 50,000 employees working under them, and their job is to make the company survive. And they have a similar amount of stress, and the cortisol's is management is not good. So they also turn into adrenaline junkies, so to speak, all the time. And so average human being don't see that part. You and I are not going to see that part, but my patients, I see them all the time. The blood pressure is rising. They can't fall asleep. Well, they're tired. They can fall asleep, but the sleep is absolutely restless. They're not having deep sleep at all. They start taking like our late Michael Jackson used to do, is to inject himself a milk of magnesia or milk of amnesia, so to say, propofol, to make him fall asleep because the adrenaline is so much into the body they cannot fall asleep. There's a treatment for that, and this is my secret, right? All those people, guess what I do? I give them active thyroid, and in 10 minutes, all the adrenaline is out of the system, the body is relaxing, and they are snoring, they are sleeping, they're deep sleep. Now, that treatment is not available for everybody else because not everybody has this issue. So you can use thyroid or you can use medication to deal with this particular problem. And thyroid is not addicting, so it's not like you can take it forever rest of life. If you don't take it, then you're not going to fall asleep. But at the same time, I tell them, if thyroid is working for you, guess what the problem is? It's not that your body's missing this pill. Is that the thing is you are burning the candles at both ends.
Mhm.
So I use medication to prove my point to people that this is what's happening. Either you take control of your body, otherwise the body is going to just going to fall apart, and then there's no pills that's going to solve this problem for you.
It's a lot of people are not aware that T3 can block adrenaline at the level of the cell.
Yeah.
And although where I am in Canada, it can be a bit challenging to get your hands on certain hormones.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of my clients use desiccated thyroid. And one of the first things they'll notice is improvements in their sleep. And
Yeah.
that most people would never connect it to the thyroid because generally we think of the thyroid as being energizing. Like,
That's
oh,
right.
it couldn't put me to sleep. It's energizing, but it counteracts a lot of that negativity that happens at the level of the cell when you're just running on adrenaline all the time. And I have a lot, like, because I do work with a lot of CEOs, I work with a lot of police, EMTs, doctors, nurses, but a lot of just moms trying to juggle careers and kids.
Oh, yeah.
And I honestly could maybe list on one hand in all the clients that I work with that don't have adrenaline dominance. Like it's very rare. And I put my hand up, I run high on adrenaline. And like you said, I'll do it for so long, but eventually I'll crash. I will just crash and burn. And I know I need to rest then. I know maybe I'll increase my progesterone, which we'll discuss. But it's not just limited to the CEOs and the movie stars. I think like a big aspect of it is society and our environment and how we live now and the expectations and even just families trying to survive. We need two people to pay a mortgage. We need to pay for childcare. It's just go, go, go all the time. And I don't think enough people recognize that this go, go, go high adrenaline lifestyle directly affects your thyroid, but also how energy systems work at a cellular level, whether or not that's helping you burn energy or helping you sleep.
And you just said exactly what I was trying to say in a much better way than I did, but
Oh.
which is the thyroid being a little bit up on the hierarchy, uh, it is burning at both ends because you're not stopping the cosmic exposure or the radiation exposures or the environmental exposures. You are stressing yourself out completely, and that's putting extra burden on the thyroid gland. So the thyroid is getting burned at the both ends right now. Environmentally, it's not safe. Internally, your cortisol levels is shut off and you're working on adrenaline. It is wiping off all your thyroids out of your body. So instead of the body doing its work, it is trying to just deal with your own shenanigans, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And sometimes and we are guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it too. In the next 4 days, I'll be traveling three different cities,
It doesn't.
right? I'm going from California to New York. I'm there for literally there for 6 hours in New York, and then I travel from there to Atlanta. I'm there for Atlanta for literally no more than 18 hours, right? I spend the night. The next morning I speak and I leave from Atlanta. I come back home because I have a 1 day off, and the very next morning I go back to Dallas and go to another speaking engagement over there and come back over here. I mean, and I'm not uh, besides normal. There are a lot of people in the same shoe as I am that travel multiple times during the week, multiple different cities, and it just puts an extra stress on your body all the time. And the thing is, the question then becomes is that how do I tell myself how should I behave to keep my stress levels low in order for me to be a fully functional human being?
Mhm.
Because I'm expected to be on the go. I don't care if I'm in a studio in the front of a TV cameras, and I'll be filming a TV segments in New York this week.
Mhm.
Uh, and then in Dallas, I'm speaking in front of at least 100 different med spas and CEOs of the company. How can I have the same intensity at different places and keeping my stress levels low at all time? And so it's a challenge for me too. And so I I preach, and whatever I preach, I implement myself. Right? I practice meditation. I practice healthy eatings. I don't drink anything besides water. I do whatever it takes to make myself calm down and stay focused. Because if I can do it, I can ask all my patients to do it as well.
Mhm. It really is a balancing act. It is. But you
Yeah.
said something really important there that I know my clients will roll their eyes, but I am adamant that as leaders, we absolutely have to practice what we preach. If
Yep.
you want someone to trust you, you have to embody what you're telling other people to do. And a lot of practitioners don't do that, which is quite mind blowing. But I appreciate that you shared some of that with us because you're correct. Just because we preach doesn't necessarily mean that it's any easier for us. We just try to keep everything in balance and be a bit more aware and be a bit more proactive. And yeah, maybe we have a bit of the knowledge where we can help ourselves a little bit
Yeah.
more, but it's still that balancing act that everyone is trying to do. So
Yeah.
in the aspect of the thyroid, the stress, I think people know you need to figure out something to do about your stress. The nutrition, we could spend a long time doing that. Obviously, watch the junk food, watch the processed food, watch the alcohol, at least the basics. But what can we take to help our thyroid? Like I mentioned desiccated thyroid, you mentioned
Uh,
T3, but what are the options for people? And if we're not looking at like supplements, if we're actually looking at thyroid therapy or hormones, what can we take?
So I don't agree with supplementation for thyroid health because honestly, you need calcium, not calcium, sorry, magnesium, selenium, iodine, uh, things like that for your thyroid health. You should be getting from your diet anyway. So supplementation to enhance thyroid levels is not something that I do. But when it comes to medications, I mean again, there are a few choices you have. You have T4 only, which is levothyroxine. Brand name in the United States is Synthroid.
Mhm.
Uh, but that is a T4 only, is levothyroxine. It is not actually active thyroid. T4 has to convert to T3 inside your body to make it active. Similarly, if you take folic acid, if you're pregnant, if you take folic acid for the brain development of the baby, folic acid is inactive vitamin. It has to change to folinic acid to make it active. So you take a pill which is inert inside your body, the body does a conversion to make it active. Same thing with the thyroid. You take T4 or levothyroxine, the body will convert it into make it T3 and to use that up. Well, the question then becomes is that then why take T4? Just take T3 because that's the active form, right? And so we do make T3 also. There's a the brand name is Cytomel, but the generic name is leothyronine. So you can take T3 by itself as well. The issue with the T3 is a very short-lived, and it's like you take it, but you have no idea what the body's needs are going to be.
Hmm. Dr. Ray
So
Peat, I don't know if you're aware of Dr. Ray Peat, but he would speak about that a lot, the short half-life of T3. So
yeah.
instead of taking it all in the morning, he would recommend that you split it across the day to make sure you have a steady flow of T3.
Yes, and that's okay too. But anything more than once a day medications, the compliance, people forget to take the medications forever. And
Yeah.
so it's not suitable for them to take the medications throughout the day anyway. So once a day is the max, is what I shoot for. But if I just do once, even twice a day of T3, it may not be enough to sustain people's levels because I do not actually know when the actual needs are going to be. So
Yeah.
sometimes giving a T4 and allowing the body to convert when it needs to, it makes sense, so to speak, right? That's why T4 is very, very commonly prescribed all over the world, not just United States and Canada, but all over the world. T4 is the number one prescribed medicine for helping thyroid patients. But sometimes T4, T3 chemistry is best.
Dr.
Sorry.
Patel, I'd like your opinion on this because I have had a couple other people on discussing this, and I'd love your opinion. A lot of, so primarily in Canada, it is Synthroid that's being prescribed.
Huh?
It's like pretty challenging to get T3, put it like that. But the
Yep.
problem is, a lot of the people that I deal with and I interact with, they're not converting T4 because they either have a terrible diet, they have instances of fatty liver, liver stagnation, they've massive systemic inflammation, they've estrogen dominance, and then of course we've got like the prevalence of NAFLD and obesity. Like there's a lot that is impairing most of the people I speak to from converting the T4. So they just, and I've even had some women who don't convert it so much. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it makes them worse and their hair starts to fall out even more. So the only options for them really is to go directly to T3, or if we can get them desiccated thyroid, they will do a lot better.
So I was going to go to the desiccated thyroid next. The desiccated thyroid is porcine based, and it's nothing wrong with pig's thyroid. It's just that it's not a human thyroid. And so, besides getting T4, T3, you're getting T1, T2, and other components inside. There are other bunch of components inside desiccated thyroid, which may or may not be ideal for human beings. And so, even though overall they are probably the best options for giving a T4, T3 combination product, but some people may have antibodies to it too as well, and they may develop Hashimoto's thyroiditis where they develop antibodies against your own thyroid.
Mhm.
And so sometimes in those cases, the desiccated thyroid may not be the right option for them in the first place. So again, that's a concern. What you said earlier was about the conversion from T4 T3 is a problem, and the number one issue for conversion is stress. High stress people do not convert, and so sometimes I use the medication to educate my patient and said, "Hey, so we gave you T4, your body's supposed to convert to T3, but it's not converting because you have NAFLD. You have low nutrition count on the, mainly the selenium, zinc, magnesium, iron, things like that. You're not having enough of those. Your stress levels are very high. If you can manage all those things, the body will convert T from T4 to T3 and you'll be okay. Oh, I can't do any of those things. So can you give me another pill for that one, right? So sometimes I use that as an education tool as well. And then I do make T4, T3 combined capsules in my compounding pharmacy. We are the largest producer for different strengths. I think I have like probably close to 300 different strength combinations of T4, T3s in my pharmacy that I've made over the years. And so Yes, I do make T3 alone. I do make T4, T3 combinations. I don't make T4 at all because T4 is available commercially, plenty of strengths. But with that one is, of course, is not everybody's going to be able to convert it.
Mhm. And most people who come to the likes of me or you, their issues with conversion are probably higher than people who don't come to us because they wouldn't be coming to us if they didn't
Yeah.
have issues. So, in that instance, maybe the desiccated thyroid and the active form, especially if we're going to hear from the person there's nothing I can do about my stress right now. And I'm doing my best with my nutrition because some people are really trying, but there's only so much they can do. Well, then, okay, maybe you're a better candidate for the T3 and some kind of compounded combination.
So yeah, it is that is the option. But when they say they can't do anything about stress, there are 15 things that I ask them to do, and these are all non-medications. You can, in fact, you can just put in your favorite search engine, uh, how to reduce stress without medication, and they'll give you the list of things: yoga, meditations, cold plunging, eye grazing, sightseeing, daily practicing daily gratitudes, things they're thankful about every single day. Um, if you start doing multiple things, even as little as humming, just humming will stimulate your vagal nerve, will basically calm your cortisol levels down as well. Singing, things like that, music therapy. But all these things doesn't require medication, doesn't require money. And I tell the people that it's not what can I do from here. I said, you're supposed to do all of these things, as many things as possible from here, and you can do two things at the same time. Like you can do cold plunging and do breath work at the same time. Deep breathing and cold plunging goes hand in hand. So you now do two things. And if you can do that, and then once you come on so the cold plunge, you can do humming. There's so many things you can do too first, but by doing so, you can literally reduce your cortisol loads down. For sure you'll be reducing the adrenals down as well, the adrenaline. And when you do that part, right away, your body temperature rises. That means your thyroid just became active again. It is so fast. It is so fast that people, you don't have to wait for months to see the benefits. You see the benefits within days. And so I do advocate that a lot.
You mentioned body temperature there, and one thing I get the majority of my clients and followers to do is to take their basal metabolic
Uh-huh.
temperature first thing in the morning. And some people will take it after meals as well, just to see if how they're responding to the food. But one thing that is very clear, and you can see it on a thermometer, like this is data, you cannot deny this is that when
Yep.
someone has a lot of stress for whatever reason, or maybe they had a terrible night's sleep, that temperature is going to plummet. It will go through the floor. And that's, I really like it. Really cheap oral thermometer. Like you said, we're using these methods to prove, like validate what we're saying. You can see your metabolism or thyroid is going through the floor, and we can directly correlate that to whatever happened an hour ago or yesterday or whatever. Like it's a
Absolutely.
very valuable tool.
No, I do use a thermometer. In California, we have banned the mercury thermometers, but they do have the glass thermometers without the mercury as well. And so we advocate to all our clients to use that temperature reading. Give us a reading for 7 days and see what the core temperature is. And if it's below 97, 98.6 is the normal, so 97.6 is 1 degree less, is what my normal should be. Anything below that, I ask them to start taking care of their health now because
I
it's
had
it's
I had a client last week and she took her morning temperature and it was 96.9. And I was like, "Are you sure you're alive? Do you have hypothermia?" I'm like, "That's not normal. Like, people are not
yeah.
aware of this. Is why, like, thermometers are not expensive. It's such an easy tool to use. But
Yep.
I think I do want to talk about testing. So let's get into that because I think
Sure.
it is a very valuable test, clearly non-invasive. You can do it at home. It's quite affordable. You can build up a lot of data. You can look at 5 days, you can look at a month, you can look at 3 months. So what do you think? Because I also want to get onto the sex hormones, but this comes out up all the time, and I suppose you can include the sex hormones as well, is people constantly want to test, like as if what they're feeling is going to be validated by a piece of paper or a test. Like you know your body better than any test, but people just they want to be validated that they're not losing their mind or something.
I know it's the testing is something is rampant in the United States right now. Every doctors, everybody is out marketing, hey, we can test you for this thing. Uh, and it's the testing is a marketing tool to lure the customers in. Or testing is there because they said that hey, this person had no signs or symptoms, and the next thing we know he had cancer and now he's dead, right? And so when you hear those kinds of stories, you say, oh, I want to test for everything now, right?
Yeah.
I want to see if what am I missing or what am I not seeing? And unfortunately, the test is not going to share all this data with you too. It's a needle in a haystack. And so I'm not a big fan of testing all the time. Certain things I would like to test, for example, thyroid. I would like to test thyroid because thyroid shows up in the blood test pretty easily. And so it's not something that it fluctuates a whole lot. So I'm okay with testing that. But testing sex hormones in the blood test, it's like it's like catching a whack-a-mole. You're not going to be able to get it. I say you have no idea at what range I'm looking at, right?
Well,
And
well,
so
apparently all the ranges are normal. Like that's all we hear.
yeah.
My doctor said everything's normal except my leg is hanging off, but the doctor said that's normal. This is what we hear all the time. And I'm trying to explain to people, okay, well, if you get your sex hormones tested in the morning and then all of a sudden something terrible happens, someone crashes into your car and you get your hormones tested after that, they're going to be completely different. Like they're going to fluctuate, and that event is going to directly impact your hormones. But a lot of people, they don't consider that.
Well, the thing is, what you just said is exactly what I tell my patients too about the testing is variable. Like you could, I said, hey, how do you feel today? I feel fantastic. I'm in a very good mood. And somebody cuts you off or somebody slaps you. How is your mood now?
Mhm.
2 minutes ago, you're in perfect health. So no, everybody left. And now you're in a really, really crappy mood now, right? But the test told me that you're perfectly fine. You're normal, right? And the body is constantly adapting. We don't realize that part. Is the body's constantly adapting. For example, you drink one glass of alcohol. What's going to happen? Right? The body will deplete all its glutathione levels, all the alcohols get neutralized, but you now the body has no glutathione for the next 4 hours. Does that mean the body doesn't produce glutathione? No, it's already used up.
Yeah.
It's everything is used up. So don't go out supplementing glutathione because you tested at the wrong timing, because the body is constantly adapting to what your needs are going to be, right? So sometimes the testing is good if you're measuring something stable
Mm.
and it's okay. Like something that stays in the body for 7 to 10 days and doesn't go down, doesn't fluctuate that's so fast with one changes. Like for example, when you check for sugars, you can check for direct sugar and they fluctuate like every second, versus you measure the HbA1c levels that fluctuates every 3 months. That will tell me how you've been for the last 3 months versus how you've been for this particular time frame.
Yeah.
So some of those testings are critical in what you're testing for. And so I, I like testing, but I'm not a big fan of testing every single thing because you can spend a lot of money and not find anything, or not find something that you can make an impact in your life.
One of the more common things, especially with the age group that I work with now, being more perimenopausal women and midlife
Mhm.
women, is wanting to test the hormones. And I'm trying to explain to them this is almost a waste of time. You are better off recognizing your symptoms and let's monitor how your symptoms improve based on the actions that we take. You touched on before the adrenaline and the blood sugars. Most women do not know that one of the biggest drivers of hot flashes and night sweats is going to be the adrenaline and the blood sugar issues. You have to fix them first before you start looking at the hormone therapy or the bioident. But most women, they're like, oh my God, I'm having hot flashes, night sweats. I need some sort of hormone. No, you probably need to stop eating junk food before bed first
Yes.
and limit your caffeine and alcohol in the evening. And then once we do all that, if we haven't fixed it with that, then we look at the hormones.
Well, th- so the thing is, what you just mentioned to me was, say, going through the pyramid scheme, right? First stress, then insulin, then thyroid, and then finally sex hormones, right? That's a whole pyramid. That's exactly what I tell all my patients. But trust me, they don't want to listen to that part. If I'm having hot flashes, can you fix it today? I said, sure, I can give you some pills to fix it today. But the issue about the hot flash is not because of that you are hormonally imbalanced from outside sources, but your issue is that your hormone imbalance because all these other factors is causing the imbalances. So if you fix the factors that are causing the imbalance, then you don't have to take the pills for the rest of your life. And so I use medication as an educational tool to explain to them how things work more than trying to just give them medications all day long.
There is an element, though, where women, especially those of us transitioning through perimenopause and all the fun that goes along with that, do need a little bit of help. And my favorite hormone, and I think it is yours as well, would be progesterone. And
Yes.
progesterone can be very, very, very not only beneficial, but very safe. So, you want to fill us in on how you use progesterone and what you recommend it for?
So progesterone is what you mentioned. It's one of the safest hormones in the human body. The least amount of toxicity, least amount of side effects comes from progesterone. It's the I like to call progesterone as the mother hormone. It's not the top of the hormone chain like cholesterol is, but it's a mother hormone where without progesterone, all the other hormones fall apart, right? It keeps everything into check. So I use progesterone primarily for all my patients. It doesn't matter if they are PMS, perimenopause, or menopausal patients. So when you're in perimenopausal patients, which is the most difficult time for any women in their whole lifespan, is the perimenopause time, because the body's trying to procreate, body's trying to increase estrogens, try to get the eggs mature so it can be ready for fertilization. If that doesn't happen, then the body's trying to produce more progesterone. And the thing is, the progesterone production is not dependent on how much you produce estrogens in the body. So, so here's the thing: women, the way the whole nature was created, women's were created to procreate, to produce babies, right? And as you start aging, the number of eggs starts reducing, so the body has to produce more and more estrogen to get the eggs ready. And in the perimenopausal time, you produce a lot of estrogen to have a chance to produce to get the eggs mature enough to get fertilized. But that does not correlate to progesterone. Progesterone only increases based on the normal cycles, and it only increases very high during pregnancy. But if you don't get pregnant, the progesterone levels will drop and you'll have your menses for the first 4 to 5 days of your cycle. On the other hand, the estrogen is rising when you are 20 years old. It's like this level. When you're 35, it's this level. When you're 45, it's even higher.
Mhm.
And so it's rising all the time. And the progesterone level stays constant. Now, anybody could argue that, okay, in that sense, why give progesterone? Because progesterone is not the issue. The issue, we have too much of estrogen. So why can we give something called anti-estrogen pills to bring the estradiol levels low enough so the body to survive? But the issue is we can do that part as well. And there's some anti-estrogen pills available, like birth control pills, are actually sending negative feedback to the body to stop its own production. So that's how it works. But what is doing it with these anti-estrogen pills is that the liver will process those anti-estrogen pills and make them toxic. And now we are dealing with estrogen metabolites that are toxic, will give the same exact symptoms as too much of estrogen to begin with, and now we have not solved any problems. So the only solution that I feel like it is that, hey, I know it's not the right thing to do is to give them more progesterone because the body has enough progesterone. But if I give them more than what the body produces, their body will use the progesterone to bring all the other sex hormone levels down naturally without going into this toxic environment. So I love progesterone in that sense that, hey, one hormone can balance out every single hormones in your body because all we're doing is the, hey, body, this is a progesterone, use it to the best of your knowledge to bring all the other hormones in proper balance. And it does it very effectively. So perimenopause, PMS patients, I use progesterone exclusively. I don't use any anti-estrogen pills or estrogen replacement therapy at all. Once in a while, very small amount of time, I may use some testosterone for women, especially with symptomatic relief. But I would say 100% of the women will be on progesterone.
Mhm.
I can't figure out anybody who's not on progesterone as a therapy.
Mhm. I like to call progesterone the hormone of vitality and sanity.
Okay.
Progesterone is the hormone that's going to stop you killing your husband and everybody around you. Now, you mentioned something about progesterone staying static, but we know in perimenopause it generally doesn't because a lot of women are having anovulatory cycles, and even if they are
Sure.
ovulating, they're still not producing optimal amounts of progesterone. And then, if the adrenals are making progesterone, back to what we spoke about, adrenaline and stress, then that bit of progesterone is being shuttled left to help you deal with that. So that's when we start to see the anovulatory cycle. So there's no even guarantee that women have progesterone during perimenopause, but compounding what you said with the body is upregulating its own ability to make estrogen to try get us pregnant, even though we're all like,
Mm.
no, 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 no. And those days are over. We also then have the xenoestrogens. Then, if we have thyroid issues, we've got the weight gain. So now the fat cells are making some estrogen. So, what we're trying to say is we just don't have enough progesterone to offset the excess estrogen and the damage that that might be eliciting either on the body right now in regards to like the heavy menstrual bleeding, the PMS, the tender breasts, all that, or potentially what could happen in the future from having too much estrogen. I don't like to say the C word too much because I don't want to jinx anyone, but
Yeah.
we're not just thinking like right now, we're thinking about like into the future, like what could this look like if we don't bring in some progesterone to protect you.
No, absolutely. And what you just said was, I was giving the best case scenario. This is assuming you're otherwise having normal periods, right? Even then, your progesterone level is not going to be high enough to deal with all the estrogens you have. Even then, what the other scenario where your ovulatory cycles, you have no ovulations, those are like a slam dunk cases. They have no progesterone at all, right? So those are the easy ones. I'm talking about even if your normal cycles and you have no other issues whatsoever, even those people, they have low progesterone level comparatively to the estrogens. So,
So one thing I want to ask you before we start to wrap up, because when we think of progesterone, we are trying to generally thinking, well, this is more for older women or women in perimenopause. But you mentioned, and I've heard you in other conversations, you will use it in younger girls if you feel they need it. And I
oh
do have
yeah.
a lot of clients that ask me for help with their daughters because of terrible PMS and PMDD. And I will say progesterone, but they're almost scared or apprehensive to use progesterone because they don't think it is safe in younger girls.
So progesterone, well, what they're talking about is progestins, which is a synthetic form of progesterone that is absolutely not an option at all. Has no benefits besides giving you the period. So I would not, I've never used this product. I've never used progestins in my life for any women that's out there. So that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is a natural progesterone that you can use even during pregnancy to sustain a pregnancy. That's the progesterone we are talking about. And I have a 14, 15-year-old girls. I have two daughters, and I have given them progesterones to control the symptoms of PMS. Now, keep in mind, when they're young, the needs for progesterone is very, very short of duration of time. And if you can fix it at the onset of the PMS, then the body will remember that this is what how I'm supposed to feel with the hormone levels. And the body will try to create that perfect balance again for you. And so if you treat those girls early on in your life, what I've seen is that after a couple of months, you take away the progesterone treatment from them, and the body is just fine for years and years to go by.
Mhm. So
So that could happen.
how in these younger girls, in these teenagers, are you using it in the luteal phase, or are you only using it in the perimenopause or the PMS days? So that's 7 days or so before their bleed. What kind of doses are you using?
So I'm using for, well, some of the girls that moms tells me that they don't find out until like maybe like 5, 7 days before the period starts that the daughters are complaining now, right? So in that sense, I'll start right away immediately. But if I get this person earlier, they will work with me. I like to start at least 10 to 12 days prior to the period. So about 1 or 2 days after ovulation, I
Mhm.
start taking for 10 to 12 days, stop the progesterone, they get the bleed, they're fine back to normals. Next cycle, after ovulation, wait for 2 days, start the progesterone again, stop at the day of bleeding. The third month, I will say that, okay, reduce the dose into half and go that half of those. If they're okay, if the third month, stop it. I'm done. So the dose that I have used is roughly about 50 milligrams a day topically is what I've used. I've used less also. I've used 20 milligrams and 30 milligrams as well. And in some cases with PMDD, I've used up to 200 milligrams.
Mhm.
Uh, Now, I had three severe cases of PMDD where one girl had 4 kids and she came this close to killing all the 4 kids. So that's a severe PMDD case, and on those cases, we had to use 2.4 grams of
Mhm.
progesterone per day for almost 3 months, and then eventually we were able to bring it down to maybe up to 400 milligrams per day, uh, and then a year later, they're down to maybe 200 milligrams per day. And I have those patients for over 25 years now. They're still alive today. All the kids are nice and healthy now. Uh, but what I've seen when I give them such a high doses, and I wish I knew that at that time, I've done something differently. They have developed gut and actually they have developed systemic candida. So
Well,
candida is a big issue.
yeah.
So now what I do for all my patient cases with progesterone is that I by default I always them if you can go on a sugar-free diet, on a simple carb-free diet, I'll strongly advise them to do so. I'll also prescribe some probiotics or antifungals treatments for them so that the fungal load is always low when they do progesterone therapy treatments with us. So that's what I've seen.
I've had Carol Petersen on my podcast 3 times. You probably don't know who she is, but she's another
I know who she
compound.
is.
Yeah, so
I know
she's
who
a
she is.
compounding pharmacist too, and she has told me a couple of horror stories as well about women and their needing to use the 2.5 grams and more just to, like you said, help the women feel sane again. A lot of women, including myself, don't realize we think we have it tough with our bit of irritability and maybe the sugar cravings and the sleep issues, but there's some women that are almost suicidal, like they just cannot live with these symptoms that are so severe. And thankfully, we do have something like progesterone that we can use. But I don't envy them women at all, and I'm glad I'm not one of them, and hopefully
No.
will never be one.
Those are postpartum depression, and I had three of those cases so far. Very early in my career, this was 25 plus years ago, and I still remember them because they're still alive. All three of them have systemic candida. Unfortunately, that's something that I wish I can take it back from them today. But because of those three ladies, I'm able to do a better treatment today for all my other patients today.
Carol did mention this, and I brought this up on one of my podcasts with her about the candida that generally these women already had candida, but when you give them progesterone, it can stimulate an overgrowth of candida. And then obviously, if you're not aware of what's happening and you just kind of continue on with the plan, it can get worse and worse and worse. And you'll have to consider as well, if women are at this end stage where they're losing their mind, are they also consuming extra sugar or maybe wine to just help them deal? So then that would be feeding the candida as well. There's a lot to be considered. And again, I do not envy any of these women.
Yeah, and the thing is, it will get you symptoms early on about bloating and stomach distensions and flatulence and things like that. So you do get the symptoms early on. As soon as the candida starts increasing in your body, that's a clear sign to start dealing with it immediately. By default, like I think we are the only one of the only compounding pharmacy in the country that actually makes progesterone capsules with Saccharomyces boulardii built into it, two in
Absolutely
one
love
capsules. So
Saccharomyces.
we do make those capsules, combination capsules in the pharmacy, and we've been doing that for literally over 25 plus years. We are the only pharmacy that have able to figure that portion out, how to combine those two into one capsule.
That's fantastic because Saccharomyces is another product that's so under-recognized.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Patel, this has been absolutely fantastic. So thank you for your time. I think we touched on everything. We touched on the glutathione, the thyroid, the progesterone, the do's and the don'ts. For people who want to find more about your book, your pharmacy, what you're preaching, where can we direct them?
I have two websites. One for the pharmacy is centraldrugsrx.com. Uh, Again, in California and United States, we don't put any too much information on the website, unfortunately. But you can always reach out on the contact page, and the emails will come to me.
Right.
The other website where I talk about mainly about my book and the glutathione and health and longevity space, it's aurowellness.com, AURO wellness.com. Subscribe to my newsletters over there. Actually, so you can subscribe to newsletter on both sides. We do give out meaningful information on a weekly basis to all of our listeners. Try to bring education piece out, and all I'm saying is that use the medication today just to find out what your body is telling you, but don't use the medication as a solution for the problem. It's just used as a diagnostic tool that's telling you that, okay, now if this pill's working for you, that means you know what to do next.
Mhm.
And listen to that body, listen to what it's telling you, and do whatever it takes to get it done. Because guess what? There's no money in the world is going to save you from dying.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
when you
it's your
die,
choice how
there's
it's
not
done.
there's nothing you can take with you. So
Yeah,
please do not ignore those warning signs and take action.
yeah, absolutely. These are tools, they are not the magic pill, and at the end of the day, it's your choice how you want to live and die, and you either want to do it the easy way or the hard way.
Yep, that's it.
Do you also have some social media links? Everyone, I will pop them in the description as well, and you can check them out. So this has been an absolute pleasure, Dr. Patel.
No, thank you so much for having me today. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day and we'll chat soon.
All right, thank you.